stand if you are able, and let us receive the platform party.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. You are the hope and the dream of the slave. April 4th, 1968, he stepped out onto the balcony, and before the shots could provide the blow, the dream died. 5 minutes after they pronounced him dead, you began to loot, shoot, kill, and destroy. Today, we honor the sacrifices of our ancestors. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. So I say to you today, my friends, that even though we face the difficulties of today and today and today, we still have a dream. And today we honor that dream. We honor the stories of our ancestors. We honor the people that said we need something to eat. So we took some hog intestines, put some spices with it, boiled it, and made a delicacy. We come from people that took something, a little something, and made lye soap. You come from a people that says they not like us. But they also said the same thing as up above my head, I hear music in the air. There must be a God somewhere. So we are here to honor and to share the dream, and most of all, to remind of us of our stories. I am Dr. Edward Hill, and it is a pleasure to serve as the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs here at Talladega College, the Alpha Laura Vega of them all. The Interim President, Walter Kimbrough, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, students, alum, friends of the college, thank you for your presence here today. During this morning's program, we will hear stories of Black excellence, perseverance, and acknowledge and pay tribute to those who have changed the world through their brilliance and their bravery. The theme of this year's convocation is Mosaics, celebrating pieces of Black history through storytelling. It's a fitting gathering here today in DeForest Chapel. As you can see around us, there's a story that is told. Take time to really embrace the story. Now let us begin this morning's program. Please remain standing as Jalen Newsom, class of 2028, comes and provides the invocation.
Good morning. Freedom. They say we'll never get it. I believe when people hear that color side of the story, injustice anywhere is an insult to justice everywhere. They chant and they throw objects, but I'm not giving up. I feel like I could walk all night for freedom. Cops yell and block the roads and order people to go back. Groups of folks chant in our faces and hold up signs. But all I can say is, keep walking, Talladega College. Look at us now. We have been there and we've been back, and we'll never give up.
Thank you, Ms. Newsom. We will now have a musical selection by our special guests, Miles College Golden Voices, as they lead us in Lift Every Voice and Sing by James Weldon Johnson. Please remain standing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. They sing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. We'll be marching, fighting till the victory is won. Hold your head up, brothers, till the victory is won. Keep believing, sisters, till the victory is won. Till that day comes, let us march on till victory is won. Is won.
So that was Lift Every Voice and Sing, written by James Weldon Johnson, arranged by Kurt Franklin, and directed by Miss Valerie Wilson Harris. Let's give them a round of applause again. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forget thee. Remember today, Mosaics. Again, let's give it another round of applause to the Golden Voices. Before we get to the welcome by Mr. Talladega, we have some special guests in the house. We have the mayor of the city of Talladega, an alum, Mr. Ashton Hall, if you can stand and just give us your mayor wave. We have the alumna chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. I'm sure you all have seen these lovely ladies here with all of their crimson, red, which one? Red? I'm in another group. You all stand and be recognized, please. Mr. Horn.
Good morning. Diga family, today we pause for a moment in time to welcome you to our Black History Month observance. Black History Month was the brainchild of Carter Woodson, who was born in 1875, the son of former slaves. Woodson was able to transcend the poverty of his childhood through his intellectual and academic achievements. Woodson recognized that Black accomplishments were ignored in standard textbooks and sought to expose and broaden the acknowledgement of Black achievement. So today, I welcome you to the birthplace of achievement at 627 West Battle Street. Thank you.
We will now have a selection from Miles College Golden Voices, I've Been Buked, arranged by Hall Johnson.
Talked about shows you. There is trouble all over this world. Yes, there is trouble all over this world. Children, there is trouble all over this world. There is trouble all over this world. Ain't gonna lay my religion down. No, ain't gonna lay my religion down. Ain't gonna lay my religion down. Ain't gonna lay my religion.
We will now have the introduction of our speaker by Mr. Jones, class of 2027.
Good morning. It is my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Gregory Alan Williams. A full biographical sketch is in the program booklet. If anyone knows the secret to series television, it's Gregory Alan Williams. An Emmy Award-winning actor and director, Mr. Williams is a celebrated figure in the entertainment industry. Throughout his distinguished career, he has also been recognized for his contributions as an executive producer and camera host and narrator. As an author, his book, A Gathering of Heroes, highlights his commitment to social issues and empowerment. The Iowa native was nationally recognized as a hero and good Samaritan for his rescue of a brutally beaten motorist during the 1992 Los Angeles riots. We are grateful that his busy schedule allowed him to join us today. Please join me in welcoming our Spring 2025 Black History Month Convocation speaker, Mr. Gregory Alan Williams.
Good morning, or almost good afternoon. I'm going to use this a little bit later because I want to talk with some of you before I sit back down. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all of us. In this very room, there's quite enough joy for all of us. There's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away any gloom, because you're God and my God is in this very room. In this very room, there's quite enough peace for all of us. In this very room, there's quite enough peace for all of us. There's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away any gloom, because you're God and my God is in this very room. First, I want to say to the Miles College Choir, good Googling. Wow. I want to thank Dr. Hill and our esteemed president for this invitation to join you today for this magnificent convocation. It is both a joy and an honor to be with you today, called together to celebrate this mosaic, celebrating pieces of Black history through storytelling. This title is most appropriate, as a mosaic is defined as a picture or pattern produced by arranging together small, colored pieces of hard material such as stone, tile, or glass. Now, you are all hereby forewarned that I will use the words colored, Negro, Black, Afro-American, and African-American interchangeably as I refer to myself or others. For you see, I was born colored, officially Negro. Then somewhere in the early 1960s, a future Black Panther who had read a book or two shouted Afro-American at a house party. Now let me tell you, several colored folks got offended. About 5 Negroes actually got ready to fight the man who had unfurled the notion that they might by any measure have ties to the continent. Oh, but that was nothing, considering what was to become, what was to come. Why, you black so-and-so? What? Who you calling black, boy? Yes, young people, back in the day, being called black was a call to action, if not a literal call to arms. You see, calling a nigger was nothing, but calling a black man could, quite frankly, get your kicks. So you see, I've come a long way These are chapters in my story, in my mosaic. Many of you, especially many of you young people, are the story that has yet to be told. A story that will continue to unfold over a lifetime of achievement and failure, wisdom and foolishness, love and loss. But even as you journey toward your various destinations, don't forget to enjoy the ride. Back in 2023, I was asked to record the biographies of your many distinguished alumni, 500 or so women and men who had, over the course of decades and graduating classes, distinguished themselves in the arts, humanities, medicine, law, science, business, industry, politics, public service. Sometimes as I read and recited those biographies, I almost cried. My tears were not for the injustice or injury they endured as Black Americans or as women. I was feeling some kind of way about their courage, tenacity, hard work, and absolute brilliance in the face of what must have seemed to be overwhelming odds. An entire nation and its so-called promise waited against them. And yet these colossal men and women, these colored folks, these Negroes, these Afro-Americans, Blacks and African-Americans studied and toiled, lived and learned, took wing and soared. Dr. Jewel Plummer Cobb, class of 1944, college president and renowned cancer researcher. E.B. Good, class of 1924, physician, first African-American to run for a public office in Alabama since 1870. Margaret Bush Wilson, class of 1940, lawyer, politician, second African-American woman to pass the bar and be licensed to practice law in Missouri. First Black woman in Missouri to run for Congress in 1948. The achievements of these trailblazing Talladega pioneers and hundreds more are now in many cases duly noted, in other cases hardly at all. I want to see, hear, and celebrate their stories. Don't you? We want to commemorate the hardiness of their character. And because the quality of my choices determine the quality of my life, I want to examine their choices, both good and bad, both good and not so good, so that my own choices might be influenced and formed accordingly. Y'all need to tell their stories. Let the pieces of their mosaic, like stepstones, guide us, provide pathways for our journeys, and help to keep me out of my own way. There is in this place an ocean, a universe of stories that have yet to be told. And yes, some are stories of discrimination, bigotry, hatred, oppression. Okay, been there, seen that. You see, it seems that when our storytelling focuses on those kinds of things, the mosaic can become more about our victimhood and not our victories, our trials as opposed to our triumphs. Just think about the slave narrative, civil rights movies and stories. They are almost always about brothers and sisters overcoming. That's cool. There's been quite a bit to overcome around these parts, but What bugs me is that kind of storytelling almost always seems to put other folks at the center of our folks' stories. The narrative book or screenplay novel largely dependent upon depictions of cruelties inflicted, indifference, immorality, and evil. But our stories, our mosaic is about more than what was done to us. Our stories, our magnificent mosaic is about what we have done for ourselves. If the quality of our choices largely determine the quality of our lives, can some of the stories you tell, can a few pieces of that mosaic center on the kinds of choices, individual choices, personal choices, collective choices that made the difference between success and failure for individual Black folk and for Black communities, for this community? Can we add those kinds of stories to the mosaic? Rather than resting on stories about the discriminatory and often deadly choices of other folks that stood as obstacles to our many triumphs? What happens when we tell our uniquely American story in a different way? You've seen them. Movies like The Great Debaters. Even books like Beloved. Okay, a little weird, but and fiction, but for sure, an inside story about love, loss, madness, and obsession, with Black folks solidly at the center. A Raisin in the Sun is one such story, but in that story, Jim Crow only set the stage. The rest of the story played out within a Black family as a tale about dreams, disappointment, and relationship. And then, of course, there's August Wilson, Lydia Diamond, and others whose storytelling is primarily about folks who look like us in all our very human glory and goofiness. What happens when we tell our uniquely American stories in a different way? Fully focused on love, compassion, courage, commitment, inside stories that celebrate hearts and minds of families, individuals, organizations, institutions that educated us, encouraged us, cajoled us, disciplined us, inspired us, and led us by magnificent example. Even simple personal stories about mothers and fathers who sometimes yelled at us, "Boy, have you lost your mind? Girl!" Stories about aunts and uncles who grinned and whispered in our ear, "You'll be all right. Your mama just mad because she want to keep you going the right way." I think you all have started to call those kinds of stories Black love. But if I have to digest another victim story, but that's probably because I've lived some of that story. I am, after all, a member of the last generation that remembers firsthand segregated rail cars, colored laundromats, and drinking fountains, and not being able to try on clothes in the department store. And frankly, sometimes watching that stuff, it just hurts too much. I'm telling you, boy, if I see another victim story, because there are those brothers and sisters among us still in bondage to the shape and color of the victim mosaic, clinging to those old injustices and their contemporary George Freudian iterations like life rafts floating aimlessly, self-destructively in a self-made sea of hopelessness. Truths from the past, and yes, too often the present, that shape and empower the myth, the illusion of their powerlessness. Man, I ain't got no choice, cuz. Gotta do what I gotta do, man. Life hard for a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I know what you're saying, grandson. But let me tell you her story. What's your name? Please, come on. Yeah. Your name is?
Kendra.
Kendra, let me ask you a question. How did you get here?
My grandma.
Oh, okay. But I mean, what did you do to get here? Did you just like watch TV and just hang out? What did you do?
I drove my car.
You drove your car. Okay. Okay. But I mean, how did you get in this school, in this institution?
I applied.
You applied? Did you study in high school?
Yes, sir.
Did you work hard?
Yes, sir.
Do you work hard here?
Yes, sir.
Oh, her story. Yeah, cuz I want to tell you her story. And how about you? Your name is
Malachi.
Mr. Malachi. Okay, so you're here, but how do you stay here? How do you remain here? How does that work?
Hard work, staying focused, keeping level-headed, discipline.
Hard work, staying focused,
Level.
keeping level-headed. Yes. Okay, so, sir, your name is?
Charette Stokes.
And what do you do here?
I'm the interim vice president for institutional advancement.
How did you get here?
Well, allergies, but no, I went to an HBCU and I was not fully prepared for college level work. It nurtured me in an atmosphere of high expectations. I worked hard, and now I stand here as Dr. Charette Stokes.
Boy, if I hear or see another victim story. Oh, very young. How will you tell us about biology major Arthur Bacon, class of 61, artist, scientist, dean, civil rights leader? How will you tell us about world tech leader Dr. Sequoia Pryor, class of 92, chemical engineer? Dr. Jane E. McAllister, class of 1919, educator, Jackson State, Fisk, Grambling, Virginia State, Southern University, each one teach one or each one teach thousands. Eunice Walker Johnson, co-founder, Ebony and Jet magazines, class of 1938. Oscar Williams Adams, first black man to sit on the Alabama Supreme Court, founder of the first black law firm in the state of Alabama, class of 41, all Talladega graduates, each and every one. How will you recite the tale of their journey to this place, in this place, and beyond this place? How will you write it, paint it, sculpt it, dance it, film it, spoken word it, rap it, sing it, tell it in a poem, or preach it? At the end of any battle, any great struggle, it is the victor who creates the mosaic, who tells the story of that struggle. The conflict's winner typically has the most influence over how historical events are recorded and interpreted. That is not to say that our struggle is over, but a great many existential battles have been won. Look around you. Look around you. And then go home and look in the mirror. Yours is the victory. We gather here today to recognize and recall our many victories. We stand as African Americans and as Americans triumphant. Sadly, at this very moment, many of our leaders and countrymen seek to rewrite and obscure the empirical evidence that made our battles necessary. But make no mistake, we are the victors. Unfortunately, many of our fellow Americans are seeking to reshape the American mosaic, advocating for the banning of books, deletions of historical texts, stories, and the truth of American history itself. These men and women who often call themselves patriots abandon their true victory when they abandon the truth about our great nation. Perhaps one day they will once again stand side by side with us and with others and with truth, and in so doing reclaim the many victories over hatred and oppression that belong to all Americans. King is gone. Malcolm is gone. Bethune is gone. Wilson is gone. Hurston is gone. But you are here. And yours is the story now to be told. Do you not also have a dream? Do you not sometimes see yourself on a mountaintop? Do you not now, humbled, head screwed on straight, realize that your arms are indeed too short to box with God? Sometimes the legacies, the stories of our greatest ones can make us feel that unless our story is newsworthy or world-changing, that it doesn't deserve telling. But I guarantee you, your story is important to somebody somewhere. Mr. Malachi. And of course, there are those who would tell us that our personal story is uninteresting because it's unlikely to garner 1 million likes or views. Or because, albeit deserving, it may not win a Pulitzer, Obie, Tony, or Oscar. And then, of course, there are the haters. The ones who say, how dare you? Who you think you are? These are the great ones. It's their stories we want to hear. This is the great literature, the great choreography, the memorable movies and music, the renowned sculptures, paintings, and architecture. And if your work does not rise to these millions of likes and views, keep it to yourself. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Tell your story, and they will know. Whenever she heard me touting my small boyhood achievements, my mother would say to me, don't break your own arm. In other words, don't pat yourself on the back. Just be the best, she advised. Be the best, and others will see it. You don't have to tell them. Well, humility is an important attribute. In fact, in our house, we didn't even display pictures or photos of ourselves, as it was thought to be a sign of conceit that one would take pleasure or pride looking at one's image day to day up on a wall. Excuse me. Lessons in humility were uniquely suited to my Mississippi-born mother and many among her generation. Those who had been taught to avoid the appearance of being uppity Negroes. These lessons were in turn given to us. And it was a label which, believe it or not, young people could cost, and indeed did cost, many able Black men and women their lives. Quiet humility was at one time not only considered a survival skill, but also became the hallmark of the dignified Negro. Those who were sometimes referred to as a credit to their race. In fact, decades ago, many of your grandparents were appalled by a beautiful, brash, young, loudmouth boxer named Cassius Clay. He's too loud, the dignified Negroes proclaimed. Ignorant. And then the young boxer declared, I'm the greatest of all time. He's embarrassing us, many Negro leaders cried. That's why white folks think we're all ignorant. That nigga need to shut up. And indeed, on February 25th, 1964, as the brash young boxer entered the ring to meet the heavyweight champion, Sonny Liston, it was the dark and dignified Sonny who represented the colored folk, and Cassius who stood for the black folk. The colored folk hoped Sonny would put the crude Cassius in his place, while the black folks were hoping young Cassius might take them to a new place. And so by technical knockout in the 7th round, a defeated Sonny and the preeminence of the quiet, humble, dignified Negro began their descent. Stumbling out of the ring while not wholly defeated, certainly badly bruised and battered. Yet now, 60 years later, that old colored role model and its message reverberates within your new generations. For just as quick as many folks designate you proud, confident, capable, and successful, other folks turn up their noses and brand you arrogant. Quiet as it's kept, arrogant is almost certainly the new uppity. You better tell your story. Yours is a history, a her-story, if you will, to be celebrated. It is a unique and intimate tale, as worthy of telling as the stories of the many other renowned men and women of this institution. And I understand that lots of you may be reluctant to tell your story because these days greatness, worthiness, important is measured in the millions. I mentioned earlier, millions of dollars, millions of views, millions of likes, millions of friends. But the measure of a man is not measured in millions. The measure of a woman, the measure of a man is how one stands potentially alone at times of challenge, personal challenge, academic challenge, social challenge, familial challenges, professional challenges. For he who conquers himself is greater than he who conquers a city. The many beautiful, brilliant, and successful people who preceded you here at Talladega repeatedly, steadfastly, regularly, consistently took stock of their measure and faced their challenges head on. But they did not win every day. They did not pass every test, perfect every paper, did not always forego the party the night before the final. But by and large, when their measure was taken, their courage, character, and intellect judged, they could look in the mirror and say, well done. The greatness, the worth, the wonder of your story, your mosaic, is not measured in millions of likes, friends, currency, or views, but in the mirror. Tell your story. For I suspect that your story is quite worthy of telling. If not at this moment, then certainly as that amazing tale continues to unfold. May God bless you and keep you. What are you here for? I'm peace in the family. Let me teach you those things. They knew what they were doing was wrong, that's why they were hiding it. You didn't have them tussle with the press before. No, I've seen you in the press. Very ornery. But you so different. They don't follow us. That's why they come worship with us every Sunday. Story I got is a long time. There's something you want to talk about in all this. See that. Looking good, but it was strong. Why did he let you go? Compassionate release. Prostate cancer stricken my bone. Thanks, President. Good to see your mama again. Kind of looking forward. Don't miss that baby that's on the way. Things could have been different. Yeah. But you're doing all right. Proud of you. Forget your world, wish yours. Here. Now, this is your world. I ask, you answer. You lie, I punish. I think Joseph! I ask, you answer. What do you want from me? I ask, you answer. Do you understand? It's answer. Let me begin. What? I don't know what kind of thing you got to get out to this story.
Now we'll have the golden voices.
Keep your hand on that plow. Hold on, hold on. Nora, Nora, let me come in. The doors are fastened and the window is clear. Keep your hand on that plow. Hold on, hold on. Nora said you done lost your track. You can't plow straight and keep on looking back. Keep your hand on that plow. Hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your hand on that plow. Hold on, hold on. If you wanna get to heaven, let me tell you how. Just keep your hand on the glass, no cloud. Keep your hand on that plow.
Good morning. At this time, I would like to invite Ms. Mavis Williams, president of the Talladega County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, to the stage for a presentation.
Good morning. To the dais, Dr. Walker M. Kimbrough and Dr. Hill, the Vice President. Will Talladega County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated please stand? Thank you, Dr. Walter M. Kimbrough, for allowing us to participate in this special occasion as we begin Black History Month. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was founded on January 13th, 1913 at Howard University by 22 educated Black women. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is an organization of college-educated women committed to the constructive development of its members and to the public service with a primary focus to the Black community. Talladega County Alumni Chapter has had a long-standing relationship with Talladega College. A little history is that our chapter was chartered here on the campus of Talladega College on May 10th, 1977 in Sumner Hall. Will all Deltas in the assembly please stand? Dr. Walker, if you will come forward. Okay, come over this side. On behalf of Talladega County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, we are proud to donate $10,000 to Talladega College, our very own HBCU.
I will make sure that I share a copy of the pictures with my mother, who was initiated in the Kappa chapter at the University of California, Berkeley of Delta Sigma Theta. So it's also part of my family. And my wife's cousin actually was initiated here, Rhonda Davis. So thank you to the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta. Let us all thank our keynote speaker, Gregory Alan Williams. I was laughing because when he started off and started singing, I saw some of y'all out there sit up a little bit straighter when they heard that nice, rich baritone voice. But he gave us a really thoughtful message about our stories. And I wrote this down. He said, in this place, there are a universe of stories that have yet to be told. And I thought that was just very powerful for us to think about how do we tell our stories. And this is conversations we have in the HBCU community all of the time about we don't tell our stories, we don't tell our stories. And so I hope we can think about it from a different lens, the way that he framed that for us. So I want to thank him once again for just the wonderful presentation. Also want to thank our UNCF sister institution, Miles College, and the Miles College Golden Voices. Y'all were really good. And I don't say that, I would have just kept on going. I would have just, been nice. Y'all were really good. I really appreciate you being here. It's just fantastic. So thank you. I want to thank all of our guests here. As we know, our mayor is here, but are there any other Talladega alums? Will you please stand? Let me just recognize you as well. All alums of Talladega College, please stand. All right, thank you. Just right before we go to our alma mater, let me just say one thing about having a program like this, because we're in this very interesting time when there are places and spaces where they can't really have Black History Month programs, which is fascinating to me, that we're in a space where there are people passing rules that you can't have programs like this. But I think there have always been, particularly within these communities, groups that will continue to have these kinds of programs. It's just what we do. I had a reporter send me some questions about how do the changes in DEI impact us? It doesn't impact us at all because we do what we do. We didn't have to have special programs, particularly when this institution was built for people who look like the people in this room. So we didn't have to ever do anything special to do this. But these are the kinds of times that we live in. And I think, Mr. Williams, thinking about our stories, I think about being in graduate school in Ohio in 1990. And in 1990, on April the 10th, there was an album that came out by a group that y'all may have heard of called Public Enemy. And the name of that album was A Fear of a Black Planet. Here we are 35 years later. A fear of a black planet is real. And so we've got to figure out how do we tell our stories in powerful ways that those stories continue to be told. And then no matter where you are, we're going to always celebrate the history of Black people, of all people. That's what we've always done. But I think it's even more important now in this time that we find ourselves in, that we have to tell our stories when there are so many people trying to erase our stories through programs like this, through the banning of books. There are lots of people trying to silence those stories. But there are this universe of stories, as Mr. Williams said, in this room. And it's all of our responsibility to tell our stories going forward. So I hope you will accept this, not as a nice program at the end of the speech, but as a mandate for us to move forward, because that's what I heard today from the speaker. So with that being said, Dr. Burnsville, will you come forward? Because I think you have a special token for our guests from Miles College. And as she comes forward to do that, she will do that. And then after she does that, we will go on and prepare to conclude the program. She'll lead the alma mater, and then we'll have the benediction from Mr. Reynolds. And then following the benediction, we ask the audience to remain in their seats, keep the aisles clear, and allow the platform party to exit the chapel by way of the center aisle. Our ushers will direct the audience after the platform party has exited the chapel. So Dr. Burnsville will make a presentation, and she will lead us in the alma mater.
Will Mrs. Valerie Harris please come forward? Talladega College and the Talladega family would like to present this to you. It says Recognition of Participation, Black History Month Celebration 2025, presented to Miles College. Thank you for that wonderful uplifting musical presentation.
Mr. Williams, we want you to come forward too, because we also have a gift for you. And I want to make this presentation on behalf of the Talladega College family. I was thinking so much about his mandate to us, I forgot about the gift. He's given us a great gift, but here's a gift from the college. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Please join me in singing our alma mater. Thank you. The world, nation, our college galaxy, like that heart constellation shone in our northern skies, with stars of magnitude, both great and small. But proud on Talladega is Alpha Laura is Alpha Laura of them all. Talladega, crimson and blue. Talladega, we will be true. We'll love and honor thee. We'll live and die for thee. Talladega, Talladega, crimson and blue.
As you go, go in peace. Remember the voices, the songs, the heartbreaks, the joys, and the future of our ancestry. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. Thank you.